This is Family by Reality Check, Chapter 6. Sonny Armour regarded the stack of papers on the desk before him with distaste. Recruitment day, he sighed. Oh, how I hate this part of the job. Spike was sitting next to him on a low stool, behind a small official-looking desk of his own, borrowed from a nearby kindergarten, but what he didn't know wouldn't hurt him. He looked up at Sonny Armour. Why? He asked. What's so bad about it? Well, Spikester, we got three divisions of the Guard here in Crystal Empire. Imperial Guard, that protects the Empire from outside invaders, City Guard, that enforces the law on the street, and the Royal Guard, that defends the royal family in the palace, and the Crystal Heart, coincidentally. Each will have its own recruitment drives and officers to handle inductees and so on and so forth. He began sorting and stacking the papers. Or at least that's the final plan. Right now, I'm on the interim of the captain of the Guard, all the Guard, so the recruiters who talk ponies into joining have them to send to me for final approval. Which means, in practical terms, I had to sit here in this office to give the final official hoofshake to all our new cadets. He rolled his eyes. At least so we get policy change to something more sane. Else, Shiny shook his head. Actually, enrollment's low. The whole guard is only a couple hundred strong. I think police are scared about joining an army. The corner was about quirked. As to what the problem is, well, just wait and see. Shining Armor once again beaming sitting next, and now brought them across town to the guard's office building, so he could handle some of the more mundane tasks that awaited him. His number one assistant volunteered to help Shining Armor. Nick looked at paper and crayons and had been asked to sit basically out in the waiting area. Shining Armor could see her. She was sitting out there with her smarty pants doll, dressed in her vest, sunglasses, and ridiculous hat, listening to Ponyville radio, coloring, and answering questions on the radio quiz show. Shiny let the Phoenician finds fall back. She was quiet now. I'll believe that. And the promise of an outie later to behave would hold her for a couple of hours. Come to think of it, he kind of wish someone else had made him promise. Okay, you know the drill, Spike. Except the ones on file A. You fire and mail those to the head office. Rejects a thumbs up. Good! And here comes our first customer. Everything seems to be in order. Mr. Shiny cocked an eyebrow. Northern Breeze, sir! The sparkling yellow and white stallion seated in front of Shining Armor said. Well, Northern Breeze, let's begin with the obvious. Do you have any questions? Yeah. I understand the Guard will provide a scholarship to finish up my education. Why? Oh, well, is there any way I can make sure to scholarship without being... Of course, Mr. Northern Breeze. He said, so you can do that? Practically rolled up the application and handed it to the dragon. There was a whoosh. Shining Armor stood up and shook the pony's hoof. We wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors, sir. And if you don't hear from us, rejected. Good day. He puts the pony out the door. Press a little more firmly than strictly necessary. I stared at the pony in disbelief. Ooh, Spike, Spike, Spike. He is but young. Have you ever been ticketed? Spike said. Your answer here is kind of unclear. Isley scribbled out repeatedly would have been more accurate. Yeah, but I don't like to talk about it. The scar-cheeked, heavily tattooed stallion in the Irrefu's chair said gruffly, Well, you'll really have to tell us what you did. A distressed look crossed her face. Being arrested for armed bank robbing won't count against you, will it? Spike said this nice young stallion's recruit to File B! The recruit was a pale yellow pony with a brown mane and possibly the worst case of shakes either Shining Armor or Spike had ever seen. He sat there, clutching an enormous service, trying and failing to pour himself a steaming cup of java. Mr. Vanilla Bean, we do require you to reveal any prior medical conditions, including any chemical dependencies, Sai said, warily eyeing the wildly bobbing container of boiling hot coffee. Miracles of miracles, he actually managed to fill the cup. Once he did begin to slosh about. Oh, no prior conditions or chemical addictions, oh no, Bean said, bringing the sticky cup to his lip. Well, the doctor does say I might be a little twitchy, but that's mostly for the coffee. I need it to soothe my nerves. Nerves, you know. He took a hasty cup. And the ringing in my ears is mostly gone now that I slipped some fancy roast. Do you drink a lot of coffee, Mr. Bean? Oh no, I spilled most of it. Noticing the last of his coffee had splashed out, Vanilla Bean began the laborious process of filling his cup again. Spike, send this to File B. I want to be a Marine! Yeah! The tan and khaki pony screamed as he stood on Shining Armor's desk. Shining Armor and Spike both scooted to their chairs to the back wall, given the space he apparently needed. And that's great, but Death before dishonor! This is the guard. We don't recruit Marines here. Great, terrific. Spike, file B, please. The mid-green mare had a wide smile, a keen mark of a razor blade and an unnerving stare. And so I thought, hey, I'm really good with knives and sharp things. And don't the guards get swords and knives and stuff? So here I am. Her smile was all teeth. Nodding to smile pleasantly, and all declining to let her. Fascinating. The day could mount individually accessible candidates. As for the rest, even the ones that weren't outright insane were too old as grade school or had a rep sheet as long as their leg. Twice he had to refuse recruits sent to him only by the courts. 3 times he had turned down the ones that were dragged in by their parents. It was the family brought in their teenage son. It was the mother's for him to take in their no-account son and straighten him out. There, soldier's tents. Head drooped, he had forgotten where he put his sneer. While his family bent Shining Armor's ear to try and talk to him and turning their son into one of the guard. Tilly, the boy's sparkle was completely out. Wiping her eyes. He doesn't get any job that lasts. He won't mind us. He spends all his time in the bases making excuses about how he's waiting for an opportunity to open up, but nothing ever does. Either separate breeds or Mikean. I'm not completely sure. Bring the boy. He's up to, boy, the short stocky sign said. This slacking about is finally coming to an end. These boys will smarten you up all right. They'll shape up, want to line and like it. They'll make a stallion out of you. If I had my way, every jack pony of your generation would be drafted into the army right out of school. Grandfather was an uninspiring horror in his own right. He didn't seem to be talking to any pony in particular. He said the army, back before King Sobra's time. Sergeant put him and complaining about how weak stallions were. They could never go through what he did in his day there, not saying anything. It was starting to make Spike nervous. He kept throbbing more and more and more. Shut! The sound was a cannon in the small office. I've had enough, he said calmly, got to his feet and came around the desk. You ponies, he said, pacing back and forth while glaring at him, have pushed my last button. You, he pointed at the guard, is weird. You're screwing the job. The mayor gasped in shock. He ignored her. The father was gaping at him. You need to get through your head. We're not whipping posts for you to tie your son to when he disappoints you. And no, we would not make a stallion out. Stallions have colts. We make them to teach orders, break things, and kill ponies. They may become stallions along the way, but that's one in the first place. But that probably goes right over your head, as you probably think all it takes to be a stallion is to have a big mouth. The soggy stallion inspired. Shut it! Barked. He shut it. I was enjoying the montage until this scene. Now it feels like, I don't know, it just feels like Reality Check is trying to ram politics down my throat again. And by the way, Shining Armor added, we don't want an equestrian for coercing people to serve against you against their will. Slavery. We don't want an army of ponies that we had to bully or strong of. You, sir, Shining Armor said. I've been listening to you flap your gab about the good old days of the Imperial Army since you arrived. And you're right. No pony for the equestrian armed forces would make it through that kind of treatment. His next words sent windmills spinning a mile away. Because we outlawed that kind of head-up plot stupidity nearly 1,000 years ago. Cadets do the toughest training. 15% don't make it through one return. Plugs road apples for brains. Tin pot backward king nothing. Wannabe idiot thinks that psychologically it makes him fit for service. Your leaders thought that way. Your leaders got overrun by King Sabra. King Sabra thought like that. King Sabra got his plot kicked all over the tundra by 2 princesses and tiaras, while his big bad army psychologically disturbed South muskets ran for the hill. You forget, princesses with power. Now that I think about it, why would princesses? Tell me one other thing, old timer. With frost wolves in your neighborhood? The old point, still dazed by the drill sergeant level blasting he got, blazing confusion. Well, the grandfather finally shook his head. Any wind indigos, yetis, or ice moles? Had any run-ins with hydras, manticores, dragons, rogues, serpents, roaming bandits, pirates, diamond dogs? Grandfather mumbled in the negative. Well then, on behalf of my weak, wussy, prancy generation to yours, you're welcome. He looked over, saw the colt, head sinking low, trying to hide a smirk. He reached over and cuffed the boy upside the head with his hoof. The colt yelped and covered his head. Hey, what? Don't think I'm on your side here, kid, Shining Armor said sternly. Something tells me you've done nothing to keep from living down to their expectations. You're not out of the woods just yet. He sat down behind his desk and looked at the other 3. The rest of you, get out. I'm going to have a word with this little screw-up in private. Mother began to whimper and father began to bluster. Out! Armor said, pointing towards the door. They outed. Now, let's start with the obvious, Armor said. You're 50 pounds underweight. You have a mild but chronic breathing problem, along the papers here call it, for the months you spend in the mines before Summer's defeat. Your grades for school are shot. Even if you wanted to sign up, we couldn't take you. So you relax a little. Even your dad can't force you in. File B, Spike. Armor rolled up the papers and handed them to Spike, silently towards him. That's probably you've been radiating since you came in. Imagine you spent every day just like your parents describing it. Working in your parents' basement, hiding the boyfriend started this, and generally being a pain in the plot. Stand up, boy. What's your name? Roller. Let me see your mark. The call immediately stood up and turned sideways, lifting up his oversized union mark. A film reel. So Empire had movies. They did, Roller said. Sure. Free movies out in the courtyard. Do tell, Armor said. I spent a lot of time out there the first year, watching movies while I was recovering from diving loan. Anything they had, all instruction films, documentaries, educational, historical films, and the projector a couple of times. This way I got a bit of a light bloomer, hey? Armor said. Roller snorted and rolled his eyes. Who is it? It's a snowflake you are when you're working down in a crystal mine, or hiding from the press gangs in your basement. Roller hopped to clear the floor. Later, a cue mark comes in, the more likely it is to be a spur-of-the-moment thing. Like the magic finally gives up on you and just gives you a logo for whatever you. That's what the eggheads say. His voice was sour. So, marking watching movies on your butt. Movie reviews. Might as well have had the word failure stamped on my flank. I got one with a liquor bottle and a reefer. His face led to a sulk and looked away. Mister, I know I'm a screw-up. I've done nothing since we escaped King Sombra, but make my parents. I get in fights with my folks all the time. I got it marked right on my butt. I'm not good enough to be a real stallion like my granddad. I do gotta come here and get run in my face too. Armor said nothing. He took a scrap of paper and wrote something out. Here's my advice, kid. Get a job. Move out of your parents' place. It doesn't matter where. There are tons of places around here hiring warm bodies now that trade with other countries has opened up. I've written down the address of a place across town that's looking for cheap help. The work isn't too heavy. If you want, you take it. But even if you don't, on your own and start paying your own way. As long as you're hanging on the apron strings, you're never going to be anything but a spoiled little cult. He floated the paper over to the cult, looked at it, and looked at Shining Armor frustrated brown. Barry? They just quadrupled their job in the film department, Shining said casually. Hard, might even give you a permanent position. You'll need someone to run the projector. Roller's hand spread. Good luck, kid. Shining paused. Oh, and by the way, the head librarian is the refit of my baby sister. You give her any horse apples, and I'll be there to kick a new religion into whatever she's left of you. Roller's grin faded a little. He said, "Is that some of it, kid?" Roller looked back. Don't let any pony tell you you're less of a stallion because you don't want. I know donut makers who are better ponies than a lot of soldiers. Don't give up on that cueing mark just yet. You may surprise yourself. Roller looked back as the door closed. That was scary cool, Spike said. Shining Armor stretched a groan. Too bad I don't get to do it more often, he said. I don't know how many kids Daddy wanted to make a real stallion out of him, or punished him for some family blunder. Half as many would set to guard up sufficient numbers. Can't you get more from Equestria? Spike said. At least they were between ways. Shining shook his head no. Not very many, he said. Cadence wants the guard here to be staffed with native crystal ponies. I have to agree to that. There's a knock on the door. Must be our next candidate, Shining said. Hello, and me who holy mackerel! Big Mechatus? Spike exclaimed in surprise. He looked like the stallion from Sweet Apple Lake. Red coat, yellow mane, and broad shoulders had filled the hallway. It took a second to confirm that it wasn't him. This fellow was a bit younger. Once again, the desires are being cheap again. He also had a ubiquitous collar, an anvil. He blinked. I don't know who said. My name's Rocksteady. Yes, Rocksteady, here we are. Shining Armor. Come in and have a seat. Young Stallion moved into the room and sat down, seeming to fill the room with his muscle. Shining Armor looked over the recruit's papers for a silent minute, frowned, and set them down. I am afraid I have bad news for you, Rock, he said finally. You have a clean record, you're in excellent physical state, in hell. Spike muttered, eyeing the arms caught warily. You got passing scores on your psych eval, but your school records. I don't have none, Rocksteady nodded, sighing. I know. Yeah, none at all. Shining Armor paused, waiting for the explanation. Rock looked at him. You know what things were like before Sombra was defeated, don't you? Yes. Mister, I don't have an education because I spent the last 10 years of King Sombra's rule working in the mines. 10 years? Shining Armor gaped. You would have had to be at fault. Rocksteady nodded. I was a big bruiser even as a little colt. He said, and Sombra's press gangs caught me and my family early on. They threw us all down in the mines. I got lucky, I suppose. They put me to work hauling the mine carts in and out. So I got a little more fresh air, a little more food. That's how King Sombra thought. He explained it. Let the weaker slaves stay whatever's left of the schools. Keep every pony just smart enough to do as they're told, and put the stronger ones down in the mine. Throw their families in after so they don't run away. It fights the leg. My mama was a school. He paused and clenched his before he enslaved us all. She taught me what she could. Lessons, reading and writing, arithmetic and reciting, whenever we were given a minute's rest. But then we were paper. He shrugged. By the time we were freed, I was too old to go back to school anyway. I know I don't got no diploma, and you say I need one to get in the guard. I had to at least try. Ain't there some way you can wrangle me an option? Any Shining Armor looked the cold over. Tell me one thing, he said. Rocksteady was quiet. He looked Shining Armor in the eye. I was just a baby when that dang unicorn told us could defend us. Could do was stand there and watch while they did all the fighting with their fancy magic. We couldn't defend ourselves. Didn't know that either. Unicorn magic. We had to let foreigners, an unicorn princess and unicorn husband, for us. Then that son of a bitch comes back, nearly gets us all again, and all we could do was stand there and watch again. Now my pa's a little weak. My mom's bedridden for diamond long. All that trouble, and you're still helpless. You have to carry a sword or a spear and fight. I can at least try to protect them. To protect us. Half-grown went. I'm sick of crystal ponies not being able to defend themselves. Shining Armor listened. Suddenly took a rubber seal and stamped Rocksteady's papers. He wrote out and attached an extra slip of paper before folding up Auntie's. File A. File A? Spike replied. File A, Shining Armor said. This is the deal, Mr. Stay. You may be too old to go to school again, but you can get a closely tested any school in the Empire. Equivalent? Rocksteady asked, puzzled. Basically an oversized test, to see if you know what a graduating student should. Shining Armor said, go to any school and ask to take it. Bring a passing grade to us within 3 months, and you're on board. Rockstady stand by his face. Thank you, sir, he said, holding out his hoof. You won't regret giving me this chance. See that I don't, Shiny said. I recommend you study up before taking the test. Laughed, beaming. Holy moly! Spike muttered as he closed the door. Too bad more of you recruits aren't said nothing. The last candidates had left him with a lot to chew over. Shining Armor and Spike stepped out of his office. Spike hung the close sign over the doorknob. The recruiting office was open only twice a week, and only for about 4 hours. But it certainly felt like a long day. They turned around to leave. Okay, Nix, it's time to go. It was at this point Shining Armor realized Nix was not alone. He was sitting in the area around the coffee table with one city guard and one royal guard. A nondescript pony might not have been a potential recruit. All of them, Nix included, were holding playing cards. A few other ponies, desk workers from the look at them, were gathering watching amusement. Nix, what are you doing? Shining Armor asked in surprise. Playing 5 cards, stud, Nix said cheerfully. She slapped her cards down. Real elite, full house, aces high. The gathered ponies groaned. The pot, consisting of a few bits, some pieces of candy and chewing gum, large as loose gemstones and a filling. It's difficult to Wendy to do her hat. Messing down on her head. You should have warned us your niece was a card shark. Oh, don't you blame the Philiad luck. You could lose your paycheck playing solitaire. Look ahead. Okay, you. Let's get out of here before you corrupt my poor instant guards any worse. The group put on her saddlebags, took her books and smarty pants all in them. Hopped out of her chair, hung slightly under her top-heavy windings. Pee-wee made out of the door to the farewells of the ponies there.